Good evening, everyone, and this is Prashant Lalu from the Kotak research team. And today's topic is about option strategies for different time frames. So, in the previous sessions, what you have probably learned is the various kind of strategies, like, for example, bull call spread or the callers or merit put, and these are something that you have learned. And today, what you're going to see is whether these strategies can be used for different time frames. Which means, if you are an intraday trader, would you use a butterfly? The chances are very less, right? So you'd probably go with a bull call spread or a single leg option like buying of a call or buying of a put. So let's go ahead and see what are the different parameters that one needs to keep in mind when selecting option strategies, whether you're a day trader or a positional hedger or a short-term trader. Okay, can I have the presentation, please? Right. So, what is our topic today? Why options and strategies? More or less, most people who trade options know that it's a leverage product, and probably the risk is also high. That is something which we are going to discuss in the first aspect of it. Secondly, we are going to discuss what is the purpose and predictive window, which means that what is the time frame for the strategy that you choose. How do you choose the time frame? Rather, what is the strategy you use for the time frame? What are the parameters that you look into when choosing a strategy for different time frames? What are the data sets that you would need to keep in mind or have a look at before getting into the trade? That is what we are going to discuss in the predictive window. The common strategies, as you all know, from the single leg strategy to callers to butterfly spreads, these are the most common strategies. We will run through them as you've already had various sessions on different strategies. And finally, the real world application of the strategies. तो आज का ये सेशन में आप लोग ये देखेंगे कि ऑप्शन और वेरियस स्ट्रैटेजीज जो है, अगर आप इंट्राडे ट्रेडर हो तो क्या आप सेम स्ट्रैटेजी इस्तेमाल करोगे जो पोजिशनल ट्रेडर इस्तेमाल करता है, या अगर आप ऑप्शन राइटर हो क्या आप सेम स्ट्रैटेजी यूज़ करोगे हर टाइम. तो ये सब चीज़ों के लिए आप कौन सा डेटा सेट या कौन सा डेटा पॉइंट्स देखेंगे, कौन सा स्ट्राइक चूज करेंगे, आप वीकली ऑप्शन चूज करोगे या मंथली ऑप्शन चूज करोगे, तो ये सब चीज़ हम आज डिस्कस करेंगे ये प्रेजेंटेशन में. तो चलिए देखते हैं. सो व्हाई ऑप्शन स्ट्रैटेजीज? What are the benefits? Most importantly, options are a levered product, so higher returns for a small amount of money. So, for example, you can buy a call option for 5,000 rupees, and it can even go to 50,000, probably on an intraday or even in a week, right? और एक चीज़ है कॉस्ट लोअरिंग के लिए. अगर आपके पास ऑलरेडी एक पोजीशन है तो शायद कॉल राइटिंग से या उससे कॉस्ट कम हो सकता है. Option gives you various opportunities, much more than any other product as such. So let's say your view of the market is long, so you can either go with a single leg strategy or a bull call spread, or you can just go ahead and write put options. So you have multiple opportunities when you have a proper view of the market. And even if the market is not doing anything, for example, if it's just neutral also, you still have various strategies that could help you eat the premiums of the options and uh, gain some amount of money. And most importantly, options are used for hedging. हेजिंग के लिए ऑप्शंस यूज करते हो, जैसे कि अगर आपका पास पोर्टफोलियो हो तो उसके अगेंस्ट आप पुट्स ले सकते हो. अगर आप एक स्टॉक है और उसके अगेंस्ट आप कॉल राइटिंग कर रहे हो तो वो भी हो सकता है. तो risk mitigation is something of prior importance, and even though most people may not speculate in the market, in the options market as such, they might use a lot of options for hedging. So this is why, these are the major benefits that anyone would trade options. uh, so now the second part is the purpose and predictive window. So what are we answering here? Can I predict the underlying? क्या आपको निफ्टी लॉन्ग लगता है, या निफ्टी सेल मोड में है, या निफ्टी साइडवेज मूवमेंट में है? So what is the underlying doing as of now? What is the outlook of the market? Whether there's an event or not, everyone always has a view of the market, and based on that, you are going to take a position, right? In options, one of the most important thing is the price of the option and the time, because these are variables which are interconnected. So if you might get the direction right, and if you are wrong in the timing, you will still going to lose money in the option segment. डिवाइजिंग अ स्ट्रैटेजी. अगर आपको स्ट्रैटेजी डिवाइस करना है, तो कौन सा स्ट्रैटेजी इस्तेमाल करना पड़ेगा? ये स्ट्रैटेजी अगर इस्तेमाल करोगे तो कौन सा टाइम फ्रेम में? क्योंकि स्ट्रैटेजीज यूजली इंट्राडे में शायद कम, और शॉर्ट टर्म में ज़्यादा, और लॉन्ग टर्म में और ज़्यादा इस्तेमाल हो सकता है. And finally, the risk management of the strategy itself. What is the kind of risk profile that you have? Are you a writer of an option, or would you take a credit strategy where you would probably where the risk is unlimited, or would you go ahead and buy a single leg strategy, or mitigate an already existing position by hedging it even more? So these are the right questions that you ask before you go into a strategy or choose the strategy. Okay. Along with this, you will also have to keep in mind the strike prices, whether you're doing a weekly option, or the next week option, or a monthly option. सो अगर आप ट्रेडर हो तो ऑब्वियसली आप इंट्राडे के लिए वीकली ऑप्शन ही चूज करोगे. अगर आप पोजिशनल ट्रेडर हो तो ये स्ट्रैटेजी शायद अलग होगा. शायद आप बुल कॉल स्प्रेड चूज करोगे. तो इसके हिसाब से रिस्क मैनेजमेंट भी लेना पड़ेगा आपको. So, what is the purpose of your strategy? Are you a speculative trader? So, in intraday, most of the people who trade on intraday basis are mostly on the speculative side, where they bet whether the market is going to go on up north or down south, or sometimes even they can even have a neutral strategy. But usually, in speculative movements, you tend to go with single leg. But sometimes what happens is, let's say you think there is a resistance or something like that, so you would probably go with a bull call spread or something like that. So short term strategy के लिए आप शायद सिंगल लेग स्ट्रैटेजी भी यूज कर सकते हो. अगर आप वीकली या नेक्स्ट वीक ऑप्शंस खरीद रहे हो, तो और आपका व्यू है कि मार्केट इधर से बढ़ेगा, तो आप शायद सिंगल लेग यूज करोगे. या अगर आपको कॉस्ट रिडक्शन करना है तो शायद बुल कॉल स्प्रेड बिठा लोगे आप, right? So, and again, in the long range segment, you could probably go long in futures and simultaneously buy a put option to hedge the whole transaction, wherein you're protected on the downside and your upside can be unlimited. And finally, you have the people who hedge their existing strategy, or their portfolio as such, by using options. And you could even go into covered call writing. Let's say you have a stock like an SBI or something, and you think the stock will not go beyond a certain point, or the froth of the uptrend is getting over, then you probably write higher call options and gain the premium from there. Right. So these are the various traders that exist in the market, and they each one will use their own strategy depending on what is their purpose and what is their horizon. Now, in terms of horizon, I mean whether they are weekly, intraday, weekly, or short term, or even long-term traders. So trade strategy categorization can be into three stages. तो strategy में आप अगर bullish रह सकते हो या bearish या neutral, ये तो overall outlook बताएगा आपको. And so what is your basic outlook which you have to decide first, and that is the first step before you dive into any strategy. What is your outlook and how do you determine that outlook? We'll come to that in the next slide. The second is the money flow, whether you're going into a debit strategy or a credit strategy. What does this mean? Are you comfortable with writing options? So let's say, are you comfortable with writing short straddles or strangles, or rather, would you just buy? You're a major buyer in the market, rather buying of options, and are not comfortable with selling off options, because the risk in selling off options is very high compared to buying off options, because as you all know that the maximum loss in buying off options is only the premium that you lose. एंड फाइनली आपको ये डिसाइड करना होगा कि आप सिंगल लेग स्ट्रैटेजी करोगे या डबल लेग या मल्टी लेग. लेकिन ये सिंगल लेग या डबल लेग या मल्टी लेग, ये सारा चीज़ डिपेंड होगा कि आपका आउटलुक क्या है और आप कौन सा मनी फ्लो स्ट्रैटेजी यूज़ कर रहे हो, कि आप डेबिट स्ट्रैटेजी इस्तेमाल करोगे कि क्रेडिट स्ट्रैटेजी. तो see, as you see, all these are interconnected. Whether first you determine the outlook, then you determine what kind of risk you want to take, and then finally you decide, the leg of the strategy, depending on whether you want to hedge the position, or depending again on the outlook, whether it's neutral, whether it's bearish or bullish. So it all depends on all three of these interconnecting factors. So let's see what are the most common strategies with their risk profile. Now, if you go to see, this is a summary of all the strategies that are there, usually which people tend to trade on. And these are categorized by single leg, double leg, and multi leg. And again, whether they are the debit strategy or the credit strategy, and what is the risk profile. So this would give you a summary, and it is good to have a sheet like this where it is easy for you as a trader to understand what is the risk, what is the how to determine the outlook. Once you determine the outlook, what are the options that you have to choose a strategy. And again, as I said, the risk, whether you're willing to take unlimited risk, or whether you are prone to not take that high kind of risk, and just go with a hedged model. So for example, अगर आप सिंगल लेग स्ट्रैटेजी कर रहे हो, तो अगर आपका आउटलुक बुलिश है तो आपका लॉन्ग कॉल होगा, और जिधर आपका लिमिटेड रिस्क होगा, क्योंकि आपका मैक्सिमम रिस्क तो आपका प्रीमियम जो पे कर रहे हो वही होगा. लेकिन अगर आप क्रेडिट स्ट्रैटेजी में जाओगे तो और आप राइटिंग में जाओगे और शॉर्ट कॉल का स्ट्रैटेजी इस्तेमाल करोगे, तो आपका प्रीमियम मैक्सिमम जो प्रॉफिट होगा वो तो आपका प्रीमियम होगा, और लेकिन आपका रिस्क जो है वो अनलिमिटेड होगा. So the same thing with long straddle. Let's say you have a view of where the market is going to move in either direction in a large way, and usually this happens during the time of an event. Then you probably go for a long strangle or a straddle, depending again on the pricing of the premium. So if the premiums are too high at ATM, then you'll probably go far away. You will buy an OTM, call and out of the money call and out of the money put, and then take your chances. By that, what would probably happen is, one is that you will be playing lesser, because the premium or in the out of the money options will be slightly lesser than at the money. So that is something each individual or each trader would look forward to. So अगर आप हेज स्ट्रैटेजी देखोगे या डबल लेग स्ट्रैटेजी देखोगे तो शायद आप बुल कॉल स्प्रेड करना चाहोगे, क्योंकि शायद आपका व्यू है कि मार्केट ऊपर जाके रेजिस्टेंस में होगा। शायद 18 आज की मार्केट में शायद 18,300 रेजिस्टेंस होगा। तो आप शायद अगर लॉन्ग जाना भी चाहते हो तो आप बुल कॉल स्प्रेड जैसे 18,100 कॉल खरीद के 18,300 या 18,400 कॉल आप बेच सकते हो। तो ये हुआ आपका बुल कॉल स्प्रेड, जिधर आपका रिस्क भी लिमिटेड होगा और आपका कॉस्टिंग भी थोड़ा कम होगा, क्योंकि ये डबल लेग हेज स्ट्रैटेजी है। And finally, the multi-leg strategy, where you have the butterflies and the iron flies, where you have a broad range of the market. And usually you don't do these strategies for intraday. Butterfly strategy और iron fly या collar strategies जो है usually आप intraday में नहीं करोगे, क्योंकि क्या होगा कि ये रेंज बाउंड स्ट्रैटेजी है और 4 लेग का स्ट्रैटेजी है। और क्या होगा कि अगर आपका ब्रॉडर मार्केट व्यू एक बड़ा सा रेंज के अंदर है तो आप ये स्ट्रैटेजी इस्तेमाल करोगे, जो दोनों साइड शायद रेंज बाउंड है और या लार्ज मूव, जैसे कि अगर इलेक्शन हो या कुछ इवेंट हो, तो अगर आपका व्यू है कि ये दोनों तरफ जा सकता है फिर भी हेज रहना है, तो शायद आप 4 लेग की स्ट्रैटेजी इस्तेमाल करोगे, राइट? सो दीज आर द वेरियस स्ट्रैटेजीज दैट you will which are there at your disposal, and based on your risk profile, based and more importantly on the outlook of the market, you will choose one of these strategies, right? So how do we at Kotak Securities give out strategies on a daily basis, or where we give weekly strategies or even positional strategies? Let's have a take look at those pointers. Our core strategies, especially for intraday, is the single leg call option और put option. हमारा जो strategies हम देते हैं कोटक सिक्योरिटीज के रिसर्च डेस्क के, इंट्राडे में यूजली हम सिंगल लेग देते हैं, लॉन्ग या शॉर्ट ऑप्शन ये होगा अगेन डिपेंडिंग ऑन द मार्केट आउटलुक। और हम लोग यूजली शॉर्ट स्ट्रैंगल देते हैं, क्योंकि बैंक निफ्टी यूजली जो होता है वो 300-400 पॉइंट के रेंज में होता है। तो what we usually do is we go ahead and write options which are 1,000 points away or 1,200 points, which have significant premium enough, so that we can take the premium as a profit, and we just play on time value of it. सो शॉर्ट टर्म में आप अगर आपका व्यू लॉन्ग है तो आप सीधा फ्यूचर ले सकते हो, नहीं तो आपको अगर हेज स्ट्रैटेजी है तो बुल कॉल स्प्रेड लोगे या शायद मैरिट पुट भी ले सकते हो। एंड इन again in short term, because you have weekly options these days, and if you do not have an event, usually the market remains in a range unless it's a trending market as such. So what you would do is probably go on short strangles even if you're carrying the position overnight. And with strategies, especially on Wednesdays, where the premium the option premiums decays are slightly higher than on a Friday or Monday, it is best to go ahead with short strangles. And the chances are, if you're a short-term trader, you could carry it over to the expiry day as well, right? And पोजिशनल में आप तो अगर आप पोजिशनली निफ्टी में बुलिश हो या बैंक निफ्टी में बुलिश हो तो आप सीधा लॉन्ग फ्यूचर्स करोगे, या आप शॉर्ट आयन फ्लाई या आयन कॉन्डोर if you are going into four-legged strategies as such. And again, in positional, these are credit-based strategies, which we'll see how they will benefit you if you are a positional trader. So we will be discussing a little bit about short and fly and some of the strategies that we at Kotak Securities give out to our clients on a daily basis. So the logical premise are अगर आप इंट्राडे ट्रेडर हो तो कौन सा पॉइंट्स आप डेटा सेट्स आप देखोगे आपका ट्रेड या स्ट्रैटेजी बनाने के लिए। एक तो है ट्रेंड है, अगर आप स्विंग ट्रेडर हो या ट्रेंड के हिसाब से ट्रेड करोगे तो मार्केट का स्विंग देखोगे। ओआई डेटा, अगर आप रेजिस्टेंस और सपोर्ट देख रहे हो इंट्राडे के हिसाब से, तो ओआई डेटा आपको कुछ आइडिया देगा। ऑर्डर फ्लो is basically what are the stocks which are hitting day high or what are the stocks which are hitting day low. So if there are heavyweights, for example, let's say you're trading Nifty and you're looking at Reliance and ITC and SDFC which are hitting day highs, the probability of the index remaining high and going further high is probably more. And कभी कभी आप चार्ट भी देख सकते हो, टेक्निकल इंडिकेटर्स, जो आप टेक्निकल स्ट्रक्चर्स देख सकते हो, ब्रेकआउट है या ब्रेकडाउन है क्या, कौन सा ऑसिलेटर्स देख सकते हो, बॉलिंजर बैंड, ये सब देख के भी आप इंट्राडे क्या ट्रेडिंग के लिए आप ऑप्शन ट्रेडिंग कर सकते हो। और शॉर्ट टर्म के लिए तो आप ओवरऑल मार्केट स्ट्रक्चर देखना पड़ेगा, ब्रॉडर मार्केट व्यू होना होना ज़रूरी है। And to get the broader market view, it is very important that you have a view on how the mid caps are performing. Because usually what happens is the mid caps indicate whether there is overall strength in the market, or or there is some kind of weakness as such. And through this, what you can do is you can determine the sentiment of the overall market. So for short-term traders, this is an important aspect when you take a trade or when you take a strategy based on these parameters. And for positional traders, obviously the overall OI data, technical support, where is the support for Nifty? For example, if Nifty is trading at, let's say, 18,500 or something, and then you see the support is at 18,200. So every time the market, you can keep that as the stop loss and go ahead with a long trade. It is very, very important if you're a positional trader to have a macro view of all things before getting into a trade. So, which means you will go ahead and have a view of what the FIIs and the prop desk data, institutional desk data points are, and what they are doing, whether they are buyers or whether they are sellers. I mean, to just have a generalistic view. There are various factors, especially if you're a positional traders, that you have to see before you get into a strategy. So, how do we at Kotak Securities give a call? तो अगर हम कोटक रिसर्च डेस्क से हम अगर लॉन्ग कॉल देते हैं तो कौन सा पैरामीटर्स देखते हैं बिफोर गिविंग द कॉल? So majority of the banks, if they are supportive, for example, this is a bank Nifty trade. We see one of the first indicators is which of the banks are hitting days high. अगर HDFC, SBI, ICICI डे हाई मार रहा है तो बैंक निफ्टी स्ट्रांग है। सेकेंडली, अगर OI रिडक्शन है 44,000 कॉल का, so that means the writers are pretty much getting out of their position because they think that 44,000 will probably be breached, and that is why they are selling their positions, and you see a OI reduction over there. So the chances are the market could go higher than 44,000. And most importantly, the bank nifty opened positive that day, so it was easier for us to gauge the market. And positive order flow, the order flow is nothing but, as I said, which are the banks which are hitting days high. So for example, on the contrary, if AU Bank and some IDBI bank was hitting day high and SBI was going down or HDFC was going down, we wouldn't have gone ahead with our long call, right? And even though all the factors were in our favor, there is always a factor which will probably be going against us. So you gauge what are the factors which are favorable to you and what are the factors which are against you. So on that day, bank nifty was slightly overbought, but then again, if the momentum is pretty strong, the chances were that the bank nifty would go much higher, and that is why we took the trade. So let's go ahead with the next strategy, short strangle. Uh, in short strangle, what you basically do is you sell out of the money call, a far out of the money call, and out of the money put. What you're doing here is trying to, eat the premiums and gain a profit out of it. One is, as you can see, the bank nifty is in a range, and the range is 43,700 and 43,000. Okay, so that means if this range is broken, then I would probably go to a loss. सो ये चार्ट में आप देख सकते हो कि रेंज जो है बैंक निफ्टी का 43,700 है, उधर उसका रेजिस्टेंस है, और सपोर्ट है 43,000 43,500 के आसपास. तो हम लोग क्या किया कि ऊपर का कॉल बेच दिया कि 43,800 का कॉल, और नीचे का पुट भी बेच दिया 43,000 का पुट. So why did we go ahead with this strategy? One was the mid cap was neutral. None of the heavyweights were hitting days high. Like, for example, the SBIs and the HDFCs were not hitting day highs. They were positive, but it didn't matter. They weren't moving significantly higher, which means the order flow was dull, and the technical range for the market itself was within this range of 43,700 and 43,500. So this is something that we did on that day, and we kind of had a profitable day. So in fact, today's trade was, since we tomorrow is the expiry, what we did was we sold the 44,500 call at 20 rupees and the 43,000 put at 20 rupees. So 40 rupees and was the premium, and we finally cut the position at about 27 rupees. So that 13 rupees was significant for an intraday trade, and we took a broad range, and we saw where the OI concentration was, and we also saw that even if the market had gone against us, it would probably go to a certain extent, maybe 300 400 points, which it happened today. But towards the end, it kind of pulled up, and we were able to get out of the strategy at a profitable rate. So अगर आप शॉर्ट टर्म कर रहे हो, जैसे कि आप वीकली स्ट्रैटेजी कर रहे हो, तो या नेक्स्ट वीक की स्ट्रैटेजी कर रहे हो, तो आप, और आपका व्यू है पॉजिटिव, लेकिन आपका व्यू इतना भी पॉजिटिव नहीं है क्योंकि मार्केट थोड़ा रेंज का 18,500 के हिसाब से थोड़ा इधर से कुछ सेलिंग आ सकता है, ये व्यू हो सकता है, या इधर से वीकनेस आ सकता है, ये भी व्यू हो सकता है. तो आप बुल कॉल स्प्रेड बिठा दोगे, क्योंकि इसमें क्या होगा, आप एक तरफ से कॉल बाय कर रहे हो और आप थोड़ा प्रोटेक्शन भी ले रहे हो कि ऊपर में कॉस्टिंग रिड्यूस करने के लिए. So in a bull call spread, what really happens is, if your view is that it is not completely bullish, but towards the extent of maybe you find a resistance over which you think the market may not go, so what you would do is you would probably, above that resistance, you would go ahead and sell the call. Now what really happens is, how it is favorable is that your overall cost of this strategy would come down, and then you're also playing on the directional side, which is an advantage for you. So what are the factors that we look at when we give out a bull call spread? One is the mid caps are strong. There was a breakout. The order flow was positive. However, if you're doing it closer to the expiry, then the chances of a theta decay is high, which could go against you, which is why you have sold the other option at a higher strike price, which will give you an advantage of the theta decay, right? And RSI is slightly overstretched, which is the relative strength index. So these are the factors, the factors which we took into consideration before we went ahead and with this strategy. Okay, and the strategy is probably at the end of the expiry, we'll see where the index is, and with the momentum, if the momentum is to towards you and it's in your favor, you could even cut your positions when you think the market is overstretched. तो हर स्ट्रैटेजी में एक बात याद रखना कि अगर मार्केट ओवरस्ट्रेच्ड है या आप शायद ये ध्यान में रखो कि अगर वीकनेस सेट इन हो रहा है तो आप स्ट्रैटेजी से कभी भी बाहर आ सकते हो। और बुक और ये नहीं नेसेसरी है कि अगर आप राइटर हो कि आपका स्ट्रैटेजी हो जो है वो हमेशा जीरो से ही काटना पड़ेगा। अगर आपको 10-15 रुपए भी मिलेगा तो आप पार्शियल बुक कर सकते हो। और दिस इज एन एडवांटेज वेयर व्हेन यू हैव अ स्ट्रैटेजी एंड you think the market is going against you at any given point of time and it is not favorable to you or you find any kind of weakness, you square the position or at least you book half of your position at that given point of time. And again, the advantage is, see, in strategies, mostly you would be hedged unless you're writing options on both sides. So that is another advantage with going ahead with a strategy rather than a single leg straight buying of call or a put. So positional short iron fly. So this is a neutral based strategy. So what I'm doing here is I know that the market is going to be within a range. So what is my range here? So Nifty spot is 1720. So what I do is I go ahead and sell this 17,000 call put options. So this is a credit strategy. I'm looking into gain premiums out of this strategy, right? So once I write the ATM call and put, now I am looking for a protection. So what I'm doing is I'm going ahead and buying the call option of a higher strike and a put option of the lower strike. So of course, when I buy, I'm losing some amount of premium, but the advantage is I'm going to be hedged against a extremely risky strategy if I had just sold the ATM call and put, right? So, what are the factors which were favorable while initiating this strategy? Okay, one, now this is a positional strategy, so which means I'm looking at a macro sense of view. So, my horizon is probably a month, right, or end of the month, depending on when I, bought this strategy. So, one was low FII activity, broad-based lackluster in the market, which means there was no sense in direction. Some days the market would be up 100 points, the other days the market would be down 100 points. So it really didn't have a direction by either the bulls or the bears. And volatility was contracting because it was in a range and there was no event also at that given point of time. So the volatility was contracting, which was again in my favor since I had written options, the 18 options. And then the overall support and resistance were around the corner, right? So it was that gave me an added cushion to go ahead with the strategy as such. And these were the favorable aspects of it. Yes, however, if the market had reversed or there was a breakout on either side, whether it's the long side or downside, I would still be hedged to a considerable side, right? So that was something which was against me. And the other aspect is, you never know how the market is going to go on any given day. The probability is never really 100% as such. So the range also may not hold as such. So, but this was a profitable strategy for us at that given point of time because of all the factors that played into our hands from being in range bound aspect and supporting the strong support, and the market didn't break that support or the resistance as such. So the next strategy जो और एक strategy है वो है merit put. इसमें क्या करते हैं, आपका व्यू शायद लॉन्ग होगा तो आप फ्यूचर लॉन्ग करोगे और इसको हेज करने के लिए आप एटीएम पुट भी खरीदोगे। तो इससे क्या होगा, आपका कॉस्टिंग थोड़ा ज़्यादा होगा लेकिन आप फुल्ली प्रोटेक्टेड रहोगे नीचे की साइड से। तो अगर मार्केट नीचे गया तो पुट आपको प्रोटेक्शन देगा, और अगर आप मार्केट का व्यू सही पड़ा और निफ्टी बढ़ा उधर से, तो फ्यूचर आपको प्रॉफिट देगा. सो ये सिनारियो में कौन सा फैक्टर्स थे जो हमारा फेवर में थे? पहला तो बैंकिंग का सब स्टॉक स्ट्रांग थे, चाहे वो आईसीआईसीआई हो या एसबीआई हो, एचडीएफसी. हमने ये पुट राइटिंग का व्यू देखा कि उधर बहुत एडिशन हो रहे थे 18,200 पुट्स में. टेक्निकल सपोर्ट भी था 18,200 में, तो ये स्ट्रांग सपोर्ट था. तो मार्केट इधर से रिवर्सल या इधर से बाउंस होने का चांसेस ज़्यादा थे. और ओवरऑल सेंटिमेंट जो है, जो मिड कैप्स का सेंटिमेंट था वो पॉजिटिव था. तो ये सब फैक्टर हमारे फेवर में थे, तो इसीलिए हम फ्यूचर भी खरीदा और हेज करने के लिए एक पुट भी खरीदा. तो इससे क्या होगा कि आप ओवरऑल प्रोटेक्टेड हो, आपका व्यू से आपका व्यू लॉन्ग हो, ये होल्ड, ये आपका फेवर में था. So what was against our, which was against our trade, was that the theta in the option might decay. So the option, if it was there only, or if the market had gained significantly, we would lose on the put option. So that would be an additional cost when you're doing something like a merit put, because you're, along with the futures cost, you are adding the premium of the put as well. And support, as I said, markets, if they behave in an erratic manner, the support can break at any given point of time. There is no 100% assurance that the support would hold, but as long as the uh, factors which are favoring you outdo the factors which are against you, you should go ahead and take the trade. And because if you don't do that, there's no point in trading options and being in the market as such. So this was our view at that given point of time, that the market would bounce from those levels, and it did, and we definitely kind of came out in profits when we came out of this strategy. So, what are the key pointers? One is data analysis. What is your outlook? As I had mentioned, first is determine the outlook, whether your view is long or short or sideways. आपका outlook क्या है? ये सबसे important factor है. अगर आपका view long है कि market weak है या markets यही range में घूम सकता है, तो ये सब डेटा से मालूम पड़ेगा आपको. What are the key data points? One is your open interest, where the writing is happening, whether there is reduction or whether there is addition. What are the stocks which are hitting days high, or whether there is any kind of result season which you have to look out for, especially if you're a positional trader or a short-term trader. News also makes an important aspect. For example, is there an RBI event that week or in the near future? So these are some aspects that you have to keep in mind. Strike selection is very important, especially when you're trading weekly options as such. There's no point in buying completely out of the money options, especially on a Thursday, because if the market doesn't move in your direction, you may lose. Even though, it could come up to a certain level, but if it doesn't come up to the levels that you had predicted, you would probably lose out on the whole premium that you have paid. Time to expiry, the series selection. Are you going to do this week's option or next week or month-end options? These are again important factors, because the price of the option will vary whether it's an weekly option or a monthly option, and you all know that very well. Strategy behavior of the geeks. What are, again, when you talk about geeks, here we usually look at theta and we look at volatility. If the volatility is high, your option premiums are usually high. What is the theta decay uh, on the option? And as I said, if you're trading weekly options, these are very important factors. However, when you're trading positional options, uh, since you have a lot of time, theta is not something which will affect you as much as it would for an weekly options, right? And even though you get all your parameters right and all of that, you may still make a mistake and the market may still go against you, and which is why it is very important for you to have a stop loss. And whenever anything is favoring you, it is advisable to book profits at different levels. What I would suggest is whenever the market is in favor, or your options are making money, or your strategy is making money, it is best to book some amount of profit or partial profit, and that way you are kind of not oblivion to the fact that suddenly the market changes direction or goes against you and you lose out on everything, right? So I hope this session was great, and you are able to learn something and implement the same factors when you come on to trade and choose an option strategy from tomorrow, considering tomorrow is expiry day. Please follow us on Telegram and channel, and we have significant amount of followers for all our research content and educational content on any kind of equity derivatives and various other informative graphics that would benefit you, to take a trade or know data points in general. Okay. Thank you very much. And we will open the Q&A session as of now. So, so someone has said, is it okay to go ahead with, uh, how do you know whether to go with a weekly option or a monthly option? So what's your outlook? As I explained, is your outlook for the month, or is it for the week, or is it an intraday? So based on this factor, your strike price will vary, your strategy will vary. So there is no definite answer as such. So one is, what is your view? If your view for the month is, Nifty would go to X, go up X number of points, or uh, whatever factors determine your view, which can be your FI data or options data or news flow or whatever it is. Based on that, you base your view, and of course, the strike selection. Suppose you're going with the positional trade, then what you can do is you can still go a little out of the money when you come to trade options as such, and your view is long, and which is for a significant period of time. And if you think the levels at the end of the month is going to be significantly higher from here, then what you can do is you can take a chance of taking out of the money options, because when you do monthly options, the ATMs and slightly out of the ATMs will be priced significantly higher as such. So that is your answer to that. Some of you have asked us to add you guys on the Telegram channel. So just go on Telegram and type Kotak Securities. You will definitely get our channel, and you will get all the inputs that you need, that we and the strategies and the calls that we give out from the Kotak research desk. Any strategy to profit from theta decay with minimum risk? When you're talking about theta decay, what you're saying is you're writing options. Writing options is never, there's no minimum risk in writing options. The risk is always higher. So there is no minimum risk, especially when you're playing on theta decay as such. And that is why you have to be very careful when if you are an option writer as such. I think that's it for today's session. Thank you again.